Have you heard the news? Nancy Pelosi is leaving office, and the only person that seems to be really grieving about this is President Donald Trump. Take a look at it.
Thank you, press.
About Nancy Pelosi?
Nancy Pelosi's
I
retirement.
think she's an evil woman. I'm glad she's retiring. I think she did the country a great service by retiring. I think she was a tremendous liability for the country.
And on Dick Cheney.
I thought she was an evil woman who did a poor job, who cost the country a lot in damages and in reputation. I thought she was terrible. Thank you.
So President Trump seems to be grieving at Nancy Pelosi leaving office. I mean, what a terrible day it is when Nancy Pelosi, gets her broomstick and rides out back into California and leaves the rest of the world alone. Well, while we celebrate that, we also understand that there are some serious things that are going on inside of our nation right now. It is the 38th day of the government shutdown. And with the recent Democrat election victories, we find that the radical left is still now being fueled more and being incentivized more to hold the American taxpayers and the budget at hostage, trying to bankrupt our country's future by spending trillions of dollars in a broken healthcare system and then also give it to illegals as well. And so we see that President Trump and the GOP, they're not wanting to do that because President Trump ran on stopping illegals from getting affordable healthcare and all types of taxpayer benefits. And so now we see that we're still in this standoff with one another between the radical left and President Trump. And of course, the radical left is trying to spin this and say that Trump is shutting down the country, shutting down the government. However, it's not President Trump that's shutting down the government. The radical left is holding the Democrats at hostage and holding all of the American taxpayers at hostage and using the bad situation as leverage to try to get us to blow out the budget, spend trillions of dollars on a broken healthcare system, and also give it to illegals. And President Trump said, I ran on ending this and I'm going to keep my word. It's Chucky Schumer, it's AOC, it's all of them that are keeping the government shut down. It would be simple. All they have to do is pass the clean resolution and it would be over. They can end it in the matter of 10 minutes. However, the radical left is wanting to use it as leverage against Trump because of their Trump derangement syndrome and because they just want to have a radical economy and bankrupt our future. However, I am so thankful that the GOP, for the first time in my lifetime, are not cowards like they have been all throughout my lifetime. They're finally pushing back on the radical left. And the radical left is seeing that they're not easily bending the knee and compromising to the radical demands of the radical left. And part of this is because they don't control the media space anymore. The mainstream media's ratings are tanking and many independent voices are rising up. And Trump is going out and speaking to the media every single day. And that is helping cut through all the lies. So both sides understand that this doesn't look good. Now the radical left begins to feel incentivized to hold the American taxpayers and the budget at hostage because they just won in New York City. They just won in Virginia. So that is fuel for them. They feel like they're winning the battle. However, Jon Stewart even said that it still doesn't look good for the Democrat Party at large in the midterms, and especially in 2028. So I think they're doing what they always done. They're overplaying their hand once again. But there are some Democrats that are desiring to come to the table in negotiation and the table of reasoning. However, the radical left is holding them in intimidation. They're scared of the radical left. Chucky Schumer is scared to death of the radical left. Now, I'm going to give you my personal prediction. I believe that the GOP is going to either the radical left is going to come to the table and they're going to negotiate and they're going to pass a clean resolution and we're going to open the government back up, or the GOP is going to be forced to listen to Donald Trump and they're going to take the nuclear option. They're going to get rid of the filibuster and they're going to open the government back up by a simple majority. I believe that's what's going to take place if the radical left and the Democrats do not come to the table of negotiation. And I believe that's what they should do. If the radical left is not going to come to the table and find out a resolution and get the government back up and going, then I believe the GOP should listen to President Trump, take the nuclear option, end the filibuster, and by simple majority, open the government back up and go out there before the mainstream media and go out there and tell the American people that we didn't want to do this. We didn't want to take the nuclear option. We didn't want to end the filibuster. We would have never decided to do this if the radical left would have been reasonable, if they would have been able to be negotiated with. We would not have done this. So I know you might think we're hypocrites, but we never wanted to do this. But it's the radical left that is using your pain as leverage against us. And so we're trying to show you that we care for you even when they don't. And as a matter of fact, we are so compassionate and caring about the American people that we're willing to even do something we really didn't want to do so that you can have a paycheck, so you can feed your family, so you don't have to worry about the safety of flying on an airplane, and you don't have to spend hours trying to get through a TSA line. That's what the Republican GOP should be doing right now. If the radical left, the Democrats, do not come to the table of negotiation and reasoning, and they do not pass a resolution tonight, then the GOP ought to take the nuclear option and show the American people who truly cares about them, who's truly compassionate, and who's trying to be out for their well-being. Now, there is an article from The Hill concerning the government shutdown. It's entitled, Senate's Next Shutdown Move in Limbo. Trump, Orban float Budapest summit with Putin. We don't care about the second part of that. Let me give you the first part. I quote, as the government shutdown hits day 38, Senate Minority Leader Chucky Schumer, the Democrats, offered a plan that would reopen the government. Senate Majority Leader John Thune earlier Friday encouraged Democrats to come to the negotiating table after it looked like a shutdown ending vote might be forthcoming. They were trending in that direction. And then yesterday, the wheels came off, so to speak. He continued, we are ready to engage when they are. So what caused the wheels to come off? The radical left seen that Mom Donnie won New York City, and they seen that the Democrats won in Virginia. So they felt like, why come to the negotiation table? Why don't we just try to use this as leverage to try to get the GOP to bend their knee? I continue to quote, an expected Friday vote has yet to be been set, and it's unclear what lawmakers would consider. Now, I don't know what's going on right now. I'm not able to keep up with that and talk to you at the same time. Maybe one day I'll be better at that. Flight cancellations rippled across U.S. airports as the Federal Aviation Administration looked to ease the burden on unpaid air traffic controllers. The Department of Transportation announced it would start by cutting 4% of flights on Friday, ramping up to as much as 10% in the coming days and weeks. By midday Friday, 1,226 flights have been canceled across the U.S., according to FlightAware. President Trump welcomed Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban to the White House at midday, where they discussed the Ukraine war and likely Russian oil purchases. Now, I think Trump is just moving on. He told the GOP exactly what they need to do. The GOP needs to take the nuclear option if the Democrats are not willing to negotiate with them. In the filibuster, tell the American people it's not what you desired to do. That's not what you were planning to do, but they left you no other option. And so we're going to show you, as the Democrats are using it as leverage, your pain, your suffering, your lack of a paycheck, your lack of ability to fly safely, all the suffering that you are going through that they're trying to use as leverage. We are going to go outside of our norm. We're going to reopen the government, and we're going to show you how much we actually care about you. I think it's a done deal for the midterms. Now, the radical left and all of the mainstream media is going to come out and say, well, you're hypocrites because you didn't support the Democrats doing that, but now you want to do it. And I would respond with that with saying, we didn't want to do it, but you're allowing people not to get the benefits they need, not to fly safely, not to get paychecks. And since you're not wanting to come to the negotiation table because you want to blow out the budget, because you would rather have American citizens not have the benefits that they're looking for or paychecks, because you want to blow out the budget, giving trillions to illegals. That's how I would go out there. And I think it'd be a done deal. I think they'll win the midterms on the basis of just that alone. So, now, the bad thing is, not only is the radical left trying to use taxpayer funds to give illegals free health care, but also to get them in political positions and offices. So watch this news report.
Breaking news at this hour, the mayor of Coldwater accused of election fraud. The charges come hours after he secured a second term in office. Attorney General Chris Kobach charged Mayor Jose Joe Ceballos with 6 felonies, 3 counts each of voting without being qualified and election perjury. Kobach claims Ceballos is lawfully living in the U.S. but is a citizen of Mexico, making him ineligible to vote. The AG alleges the mayor illegally cast ballots in the August 2024 primary and November 2022 and 2023 general elections.
In large part, our system right now is based on trust. Trust that when the person signed the registration or signs the poll books saying that he's a qualified elector or that he is a United States citizen, that the person is telling the truth.
So get this. So he is in our country as a citizen of Mexico, and yet he's running for he was in political position. He was in a political office. Yet that's not the problem that they're going after him, because I guess there's no law that he's breaking by holding a political position and not being a actual U.S. citizen. Instead, what they're saying is that he is breaking voting laws. He's not eligible to vote. And they're saying in America, we're built on a trust system, but now trust is being bankrupt. And so now we have major problems because we can't just trust people. Now, I do find it entertaining that here he's holding a political position, but that's not really the problem. His voting crime is the problem. He's not eligible to vote. Now, I don't understand the laws there. I wouldn't think if you're not a U.S. citizen, you shouldn't be able to hold any political positions of power. That's what the U.S. Constitution even was all about, that you must be here for so many years and you must be natural born to hold some positions of power. And yet now they have to say that he's not eligible to vote because he's not a U.S. citizen. However, I thought it was the radical left that said this never happens. I thought they said we don't need voter ID because this never happens. There's never anybody illegal, not U.S. citizens, voting and trying to get the Democrats in power. They told us that's not happening. As year after year, we've been saying that they want to flood our country with illegals and give them all types of taxpayer benefits so that they can buy their votes, so that they can crush the Republicans and never get another Republican back in office. That they want to flood our nation with all types of illegal immigrants that will not assimilate unto the traditions of America and vote blue in the midterms and vote blue for the president of the United States so that they can get all these freebies from the government on the backs of hardworking Americans. They told us that was never happening. But hey, I have an idea. Since trust is eroding away in the United States of America, and because we have to be concerned with who's voting in our elections, I got a noble, bright idea. Maybe, just maybe, we should require them to show an ID. But now we live in wacko land where the radical left tells us that we are racist on the basis of saying that you should show an ID to be able to vote, a photo ID, because they say that black people can't get a photo ID. And we're the racist ones when they say that black people don't have the ability to go get a photo ID, and they call us the racist ones. That is the most racist comment that should be an uproar from the American people, that the Democrat Party believe you are ineligible, unable, and not smart enough to go get a photo ID. But yet the whole time they've been telling us that no illegals are voting in our elections. But now, not only are they voting in our elections, but now they're holding positions of power. And I find this incredible that it's just one lie after another lie, one deceit after another deceit. And if that's not bad enough, then we have the Democrat voice, Symone Sanders, who claims that cities would be safer if there were no police officers. So this is a continuation of defund the police. Here you go.
You don't think more police make streets safer?
No, Joe, I'm a black woman in America. I do not always think that more police make streets safer. When you walk down the streets of Georgetown, you don't see a police officer on every corner, but you don't feel unsafe. So what is it about talking about places like Southeast DC, right? Ward 8, if you will, that people say, well, we need more officers to make us safe. I think we have to rethink what safety means.
Okay. If we were not living under a time of great political correctness, we could really tear up on this argument between DC, the difference between DC and Georgetown. So let me get this right. Our cities would be safer with no police officers. Police officers do not make cities safer. So I have an idea. Why don't we remove all the police officers out of DC, and why don't we put the police officers over in Georgetown, and let's see what happens. Could it be that it's not the amount of police officers that is the problem? Maybe it could be the amount of criminals that are there that could be the problem. So because it makes a lot of sense. Now, all of a sudden, Georgetown has all these police officers walking around, and some guys are going, hey, you know what? Hey, man, because these police officers are here, I got a great idea. Why don't we go sell some crack, and why don't we go rob the liquor store, and why don't we just go brutally beat our neighbor? And what's the moral cause behind that? Oh, because there's police officers here. And because there's police officers here, I just got the idea that I think I want to just go rob my neighbor and steal all of his stuff and cause harm to my fellow neighbors in our city. So this is the radical left's thinking. They call illegal migration perfectly fine, legal, and they call ICE agents illegal. They say that police officers are bad, and we don't need police officers to keep our city straight and safe. Now, let me just quote Senator Kennedy. See if I can do it today. If you don't think that the police officers are able to help you, the next time you're in trouble, why don't you just call a crackhead? And by the way, speaking of Nancy Pelosi, I think it was Senator Kennedy that once said, Nancy Pelosi reminds me of somebody that ate Tide Pods. I think the whole radical left is reminding me of people that ate Tide Pods, because they think that the way you're going to make our city streets safer is get rid of police officers, get rid of authority, get rid of ICE agents, get rid of federal laws, just have a postmodern ideology that everybody creates their own subjective world of truth, and everybody's going to sing kumbaya and get along. And if people are acting up because they're rapists and murderers, then you just get some social worker that's left-leaning, and they're going to go down there and give them a really nice talk, and all of a sudden they're going to go, hey, you know what? I think you're right. I think I'm going to quit raping women. I think I'm going to quit molesting little boys. I think I'm going to quit being a murderer. I think I'm going to quit being a thug. I think I'm going to quit selling drugs. I think this is a perfect plan. This will work very well. Which, by the way, let me ask you a question. When you began to defund the police, what happened to the cities that were under that very ideology? What's happening in Portland? What's happening in Chicago? But the radical left has a way of resolving that. They just quit reporting crime, and they cook the books, and they say, there's no problem here. We don't need Donald Trump to step in. We can handle this, while people are hearing gunshots go off down the street every single night. And while you have Dearborn, Michigan, that's starting to look like Mecca. But hey, just listen to them. And when somebody breaks into your, oh, by the way, these are the same ones that also want to take your guns, legal, law-abiding citizens' guns away, and then take the police officers away as well. And we're supposed to believe that they're out for our good, as they're also using the very government shutdown as leverage against Donald Trump. Now, I want to move on to something else here. I have at times been really tearing up on Kanye West because of his anti-Israel rhetoric. However, if this apology is genuine, if it's sincere, I want to say that I thank him and I respect him, and I want to play the clip of that.
I was dealing with some various issues, dealing with bipolar also. So it would take the ideas I had and have them taken them to an extreme where I would forget about the protection of the people around me and myself. So I wanted to come and take accountability. Sometimes people aren't that knowledgeable about the bipolar and the cause or what causes it and the way you act when you have this disease. So it's like if you left the house and you left your kid at the house and your kid went and messed up the kitchen and messed up the garage and messed up the living room. Now when you get back, it's your responsibility because that's your child. And that's the way I look at it. It's like I gotta go clean up the kitchen, I gotta clean up the living room, I gotta clean up the garage.
Now, look, if this is genuine and sincere, and it does seem that way, then I want to say thank you to Kanye West, and I respect him for that. Because there is two things that I despise that is rising up in our nation, and it is rising up on the left and the right. Look, I am a conservative. I am a Christian conservative that believes in the founding principles of America. I believe in Jesus. I believe in the Bible. I believe in righteousness. I believe in political conservative values. However, there is a dangerous poison I'm seeing rise up on both the left and the right, and I despise it. And there's two extremes, and I despise both of them, and both sides are falling into the trap of it. The first thing I despise is fake apologies. I cannot stand fake apologies. I don't want somebody to go out and just apologize to us because they feel political and cultural pressure, because I believe that repentance is not true repentance unless it comes with godly sorrow. Unless you're truly sorry for the action that you've done or the very things you said, then your apology means absolutely nothing. If you're just apologizing so you can get your ratings back, so you can get your subscribers back, so you can get your followers back, then don't even apologize at all, because you're a lying deceiver and a manipulator. I would rather you never apologize to us if you don't truly mean it than to apologize just out of save face. So that's one thing I don't like. I don't like people bowing down to the pitchfork mob that is forcing them to apologize. If you're going to apologize, let it be with true godly sorrow. And if it doesn't come with true godly sorrow, just don't even apologize at all. But on the other hand, there's another extreme that I absolutely despise, and that is this: that people can genuinely apologize, but yet people will still hold it over their head and treat them as if they're not sorry, or use it as a weapon against them, to the point that now even Chris Cuomo will not apologize for the stupid things he said during COVID-19. He's got to cover it up. He's got to twist it. He's got to spin it. And sad to say, there's a lot of things about Chris Cuomo I like better today than I did when he was on CNN. But at the same time, I have little respect for him when he's not able to go out and apologize for the ignorant statements that he made, for the deception, for the lies at times. He can simply apologize. But the reason why Chris Cuomo will not apologize is because Chris Cuomo stated that we do not live in a time frame where apologies are really accepted, that people will use it against you. They weaponize your apologies against you. And that is a major problem. And actually, it's one thing that I don't like about our president, President Donald Trump. Even though I support Donald Trump will hardly ever apologize, because we don't live in a culture and a climate and an atmosphere where apologies are really accepted anymore. When they are weaponized against you, then people don't want to apologize. But I believe that we have to create an atmosphere where there is grace, mercy, and there is forgiveness for people that are genuinely sorry. It is Satan who is the accuser of the brethren, who accuses you before the Lord day and night, that will use your past and weaponize it against you. So when a political person actually apologizes, even if it's my political opposition, and they apologize with sincerity, then I want us to lend grace, mercy, and forgiveness to them. I don't want to weaponize that against them. At the same time, I don't want to be deceived with fake apologies as they laugh in their sleeve because they got us to buy into it so they can just get their ratings back up, so they can just get their subscribers and followers back. I believe in this hour, among conservatives and especially Bible believers, there needs to be a proper balance between discernment and mercy, that we do not get deceived by people that want to give us fake apologies. Neither do we begin to become merciless, where we have no mercy towards people that are genuinely sorry. I actually have great respect for Kanye West and what he done when in front of them, the Jewish rabbi, and apologizing and taking responsibility for some of the actions of his followers and what his followers are saying. He referred to his followers like the children that are making a mess, but he, the dad, left them in the state to be able to do that. So he's taking some of the responsibility and apologizing for it. On top of that, he claims that he's bipolar, and he very well may be. And he's saying that he deals with this. And if that's genuinely true, then I pray for Kanye West. I don't like that he has to deal with that. And so I disagree with the anti-Israel rhetoric. I disagree with the Hell Hitler. But if this is a genuine apology, then I have to lend mercy to him. And to me, it seems pretty genuine. It didn't seem like he was just going out and giving a fake and phony apology. Now, my question is, will jihadi Candy Owens do the same thing? Because Candace Owens tried to make us believe that we are looking at this wrong, that he is Hell Hitler and is going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people, that we just misunderstood him. But yet Kanye West is going out and apologizing for those very statements. So my question is, did he really mean it? Was it a bipolar fit where he actually meant what he was saying to the extreme, or were we misunderstanding him? And why don't Candy Owens begin to follow the very pattern of Kanye West? Because her followers are saying the most despicable things, even towards Erica Kirk, that they are examining and they are watching her every move. If she doesn't cry enough, if she cries too much, if she acts this way, if she acts that way, if she looks up in the light, if she doesn't look up in the light, every move she makes, they are hyper focused on it and criticizing her and calling her fake. How evil is it that the woman that lost her husband and the father of her children is being that hyper scrutinized? People can't pray for her. People can't wish her the best, that they're calling her fake. They're calling her phony. And there are people that even believes that she was a part of the assassination of her own husband. And these are the followers of jihadi Candy Owens, who is so bent on anti-Israel rhetoric that she cannot believe that Tyler Robinson was the assassin, because it has to be connected to Israel. It has to be connected to the feds, and it must even possibly be connected to Donald Trump himself. It has to be an inside hit job that Turning Point USA turned their back, and Erica Kirk is even involved in the assassination of her own husband. These are the most cruel, despicable, and hideous things anybody can say towards a widow that lost her husband and the father of their children. So I would like to know if jihadi Candy Owens is going to follow the very example of Kanye West and apologize for what she's leading her followers to do. But she will not do it, because there's a difference between Kanye West and jihadi Candy Owens. One actually seems to have some humility. One seems to be an outright narcissist who has lied and grifted enough that she has believed her own lies till she looks behind the lens of conspiracy and absolutely everything, so that even when she's at her very Catholic her children's Catholic school, and they're talking about bees, or somebody adjacent to a teacher, whatever that means, and a text thread is talking about bees. And because Utah has a beehive on its flag, this must be connected to a Polish underground communist group that's also associated with the Mormons. So everybody is involved. The Mormons are involved. The communists are involved. Donald Trump is involved. Bibi Netanyahu is involved. People on the inside of Turning Point USA is involved. Erica Kirk is involved, and yet never will she be humble enough to say, maybe I got it wrong. But yet the one that she claims that she was going to celebrate the very death of the memory of Charlie Kirk's life with, Kanye West, is out there showing humility to the people of Israel. But Candy Owens is going to go on with their anti-Israel rhetoric, never following that example, never taking that example and going out with a humble heart and actually showing some kind of compassion to people. And so I wish she would follow his lead and his guide on this. And I wish she would begin to back up and backpedal some of her crazy rhetoric. So I want to say, Kanye West, thank you. I hold none of your past against you. If that's genuine, if that's real, I hold none of your past against you. I will never mention Hell Hitler again on the revealed report if that's genuine. If you truly mean that, or if you are truly suffering from bipolarism, I will never go out and use that again as a talking point. But I will still attack Candy Owens' ideology. I will still attack her dumb arguments. I even posted about how we stand with Erica Kirk, and we got these people that are radically insane and honestly dumb to the point because they have began to buy into the grift so much that they have mentally handicapped themselves that they're going to attack the widow of the man that got assassinated. How sick have we become in America that is what we do? We use those things as leverage against our political opposition. Have we become that lacking of discernment that we believe that everything's a conspiracy? I get it. The radical left has lied to us so much. I get it. Presidents have lied. Senators have lied. I get it that our federal agencies have lied to us. I get it. I understand. But at the same time, you can't look at everything behind the lens of conspiracy, because what's going to happen is you're going to believe there's a conspiracy in everything, that the very iPad I'm holding has a conspiracy behind it. Everything is controlled by conspiracies. And then eventually everybody's against us. And so I am praying that jihadi Candy Owens will begin to back up on this stupid stuff, because it's very sickening. It's very difficult for me to watch a lady who lost her husband and the father of her children be attacked like that. Where are the men at that stand in defense of ladies? Where are the men at? Have they demonized masculinity so much with their toxic masculinity that men won't stand up to defend this widow? That we're going to examine her every move? And it's usually by people that don't have anything to do but sit out on internet land while they build nothing, do nothing, and attack the people who don't have a life and is really built out of insecurities and jealousies, and happen to feel like they have some deep knowledge that goes beyond the surface level, a knowledge that they have no clue of at all, for some self-satisfaction. And if that's you, it's very sickening, and I pray for you, because it's a disease that's destroying you. If there's ever been a time we should be praying for Turning Point USA and Erica Kirk, it's now. And I don't care if jihadi Candy Owens gets 5 million plus followers that are sick enough to lift up their hands and be in a cult following to drink her Kool-Aid. We are not out just for subscribers. We're out to give you the truth. We're out to fight against the sensationalism of our day and bring people back to some sense of reality. And so it's my prayer that America will begin to wake up. And we're also being infiltrated by people that want to migrate into our country without assimilation, so they vote for the radical left that represents the nations that they fled from. For example, New York City, Zoran, Mom, Donnie. And if you didn't really get my episode yesterday, you ought to go check it out as we dive deep into that. America, I love you. But we do have some celebration. We do have some things to be happy about. Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi is out of office. Now, I have to say, I'm sorry, I was wrong, because back during COVID-19 and back when they were trying to impeach Donald Trump, I said that in 200 years from now, Nancy Pelosi will walk out like a skeleton with about 8 pounds of makeup on her face, and she'll have a sacrificial pig that's going to be named Donald Trump, and they're going to impeach that sacrificial pig, and they're going to execute that sacrificial pig. Since they couldn't do it to Trump, they're going to do it to the pig that stands in the stead of Trump, and then Nancy Pelosi's finally going to kick the bucket and die, or she might live on, because devils never seem to die. I have to say, I'm sorry. Donald Trump outlasted Nancy Pelosi in the political world, in the political arena. So what I said during COVID-19, I'm usually 99.9% accurate, but that's the 0.1% of times that your favorite podcast host got it wrong. So we'll go out there and tell you when we got it wrong. Unlike Candy Owens, we'll tell you when we got it wrong. I got it wrong. I thought she would go out there as a skeleton, frail skeleton with 8 pounds of makeup on her face. with her teeth clicking, and she would begin to impeach a pig instead of Donald Trump. Hey, we are so thankful. Our subscriber base is going up every single day. We have people that are tuning in because they want the conservative cultural commentary. They want to hear about politics in the world. They want to hear about the world news and the headlines. We have people that are tuning in to get Bible content, deep theology. We have people that are tuning in to get Kayla Skinner's wonderful content for ladies, and the men can learn from it as well. We have great lineup. We have a great lineup of podcast hosts. Man, the coffee is really failing me today. I can tell it's Friday. The brain is almost shot. This is what happens when you have to listen to stuff that comes out of CNN through the week. It messes you up. Nevertheless, I have a great lineup of podcast hosts, and I'm so grateful for them. The Firm Foundation with Austin Skinner. If you like Bible content, you ought to get on there and listen to Austin Skinner as he dives into the Word of God, and he brings it in a very simple, applicable way for your life. Kayla Skinner's podcast called Strength to Carry Through that strengthens women and mothers in this hour. It's a wonderful podcast, biblically rooted, and there's no way you can listen to it not like Kayla Skinner. Look, I deal with all the controversial subjects. They deal with the subject matters that most people would like better. So I'm going to pave the way and let them dodge all those bullets as best as they can. And then tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, the Biblical American Kids Podcast with Camden J. Wilson. At 11 a.m., it is Get in the Game with Jesus with Levi Wilson. Proud of my sons and what they're doing for the kingdom of God and for the defense of America's founding principles. Also, we have Reveal Kids Bedtime Stories that's coming out tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you would like to support us, please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, share us with somebody else, leave us a comment. You can also purchase my book, The Final Flame. You can find it on Amazon unless you want a signed edition. You can email us at revealedpublications@gmail.com or revealedradionetwork@gmail.com, and we can tell you how you can get a signed edition. It is a novel mystery thriller with truth packed in it, with a lot of plot twist in it and clean romance. Also, I have 3 more books that are coming out this month. The Reveal Kids Bedtime Stories book, A Living Sacrifice, God's Blueprint for Real Revival, and Blessed and Broke, How a Nation Lost God and Gained Debt, and How We Can Be Restored. We have more books that are coming out in the month of January, as well as great content coming out in 2026, like a Revealed Academy, online courses for your learning. We have Revealed documentaries that are coming that I'm excited about. We are going to have a full functioning Revealed Dispatch. You can get your news. You can read your news from us here at the Revealed Radio Network. Revealed Theology, where you can get Bible content, also full of pun, revealed satire to just give you some laughs in our crazy world that we are living in today. Thank you so much for tuning into the Revealed Report tonight. It is Friday. If we know the church will be standing by Monday because Jesus said, upon this rock I have built my church, and the gates of hell shall never prevail against it. However, if the Republic has not been totally burned down by Monday, I will see you then. I love you, America. God bless you. Have a great night.